Warning, this podcast contains spoilers for Secret Invasion Episode 5. Hello! My name is Jason Concepcion.
And I'm Rosie Knight.
And welcome to X-Ray Vision, the Crooked Media podcast, where we dive deep into your favorite shows, movies, comics, and pop culture.
In this episode, in the Airlock, we're talking about Secret Invasion, Episode 5. And in the Nerd Out, a theory on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the best movie.
Coming up, Secret Invasion. We're stepping out of the airlock and into the beautiful gray radioactive fields of New Skrullos for Secret Invasion Episode 5, Harvest, directed by Ali Slim, written by Michael Bim and Brian Tucker. We start right at the where we ended, essentially, in the previous episode, the attack on President Ritzen's convoy. Ritzen now arrives at the hospital. Just Nick Fury wheeling the President of the United States into the hospital alone. There's like nobody else.
Does he have a Secret Service?
Like he's just a guy that got in a minor fender bender. Fury is right there, and he's whispering into POTUS's ear. Don't trust Rhodey. Don't trust him. Do not trust. You listening to me?
He's a Skrull. Do
Mr.
not
President,
trust him.
listen to me. We go to New Skrullos. Gravik is returning with the Warriors. The mood is gloomy because they didn't manage to kill the president, and they basically got beat by Washed Fury and Talos. R.I.P.
Apparently, actually
we
dead.
Were wrong.
We were wrong.
He seems to be very
really
dead.
dead. Maybe he'll surprise us in the finale, but for now, R.I.P. to that Skrull.
R.I.P. to that Skrull. Gravik is then like, hey guys, you all fucked up. This is on you. We were supposed to kill the president. We didn't kill the president, and that's your bad. That has nothing to do with me. That's all you. And then his warriors are like, well, hold on a second. We killed Talos. Is that not like something to celebrate? Like
you didn't do that.
You didn't do that. You've been trying to do it for years. And he's like, no. The mission was the president. The nuclear war starts when we kill the president, not Talos. Yes, Talos, we got him, but like that doesn't start the war, which is the whole thing. And then his warriors are like, well, maybe you should have stolen the mysterious stuff, which turns out to be Avengers DNA. We later find out. Where's that stuff? You've been saying you're going to get it. And then we find out that actually Fury knows where it is. And maybe the reason that Fury keeps being still alive is because Gravik can't fucking kill him because he needs to find out where the Avengers DNA is. And maybe he even put Vera up to the task of assassinating Nick because he knew she wouldn't do it. And Gravik is like, yeah, well, I need that Avengers DNA, and that's it. No one but Fury knows where it is, and that's enough. And he walks away. But then one of his officers really starts getting into his ass about stuff, and so Gravik has to use his Groot arm, and then he kills the guy.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Pagan, actually a major player in the Marvel Universe version of Secret Invasion. He was the Skrull who impersonated Elektra. He was Varanke's lover, but here he's a nobody and he died with a Groot arm. R.I.P. to you. You got killed by a tree.
This is, first of all, I'll start with this. I do respect the body count, but it's wild the way people die and it's just like a throwaway death. Like, you're like, well, that can't be the legit death because we're just like walking away from it, but that's it. That Talos is dead, and Pagan is dead, and Maria Hill are dead. Gravik then calls Scrody on the phone, and Scrody's real name is Rava, but I'm going to continue to call him Scrody.
Scrody's good.
Yeah. To tell the president, he's like, hey, listen, I know you're there with POTUS, who's banged up and probably concussed and all that stuff. Tell him that yes, the Russians did this, but also the Russians with the help of the Skrulls, and then tell him about New Skrullos.
Seems like a bad plan.
Yeah, and then Rava's like, wait, hold on a second. Don't all our people live in New Skrullos? Yeah, like why would you do that? And he's like, it's leverage because you don't understand. Fury will want to save the lives of innocent Skrulls. He's got a soft spot for the Skrulls. Look at his wife.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to save their lives. And therefore, he will tell me where the Avengers DNA is so that the president of the United States, who is alone in the hospital, won't nuke Russia, a.k.a. New Skrullos. Okay.
Why do they still listen to this man? Apart from the fact that he's obviously incredibly handsome and has a very nice accent. Otherwise, I'm like, his plans are terrible. He has never killed Nick Fury. Could have killed him many times. He never got the Avengers DNA. He is not a good leader. I'm sorry.
It's a leadership vacuum. I think it's one of those things where I'm going to give the Skrulls some hard facts right now. A little bit of a hard talking to.
Tough talk.
It's tough talk. Okay. And I'm basing this on not just the events of the MCU, but the events of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Skrulls, your leaders are always bad. Look at what's going on. You guys are always getting beaten at shit. Kree Skrull War, Secret Invasion, the whole thing with the Super Skrulls when they first came out, the Illuminati going in there, just like 6 dudes just like wiping out your whole thing. Like, and then you go to the MCU and it's like you lost the Kree War or whatever it was that drove you away in space and refugee. That was very, very tough. And you just don't have effective leadership. It's a leadership vacuum. And that's why someone like Gravik can come up here. Mm-hmm. You need to start picking better people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Talos flopped it. Gravik flopping it. Like, they need someone new. They need someone different. Maybe an Empress, perhaps. Maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. will rise. Who knows? It would be nice to see it.
I would like to see that. I'll say one more thing about Gravik, putting the nuking of New Skrullos in play. I also think he's thinking, see these fucking warriors, they're ungrateful. I put them in this position and let them eat the delicious Skrull eggplants of their homeworld, and now they dare question me.
How dare they?
So listen, if it doesn't go the way we expect it to go with the leverage play, and the president nukes New Skrulls, fuck them. I don't like those people anyway.
He is already just killing them, seeing as the whole plan's meant to be like, well, we got to keep the Skrulls alive. We can't let them get extinct. He kills an awful lot of Skrulls quite casually. So I think you're onto something. I don't think he really likes them.
So we're back at the hospital where Scrody is now getting off the phone with Gravik. And all of a sudden, Fury just mugs Scrody.
Where was
grabs
he?
him.
How did he get in there?
He comes out of nowhere and he pushes Rhodey up against the wall and he's got a gun to his head. The president's in the other room. There's no Secret Service around. There's one Secret Service guy. He's like, what do I do? What do? You fucking shoot the guy that's like assaulting one of the national security advisor or whatever.
Nick Fury would not have survived that. Isn't he still a wanted man? He would have got sniped like 10 minutes ago. This is unrealistic.
Nobody knew what to do. And so, Fury's like, hey, we got to put a stop to this. That's it. I'm going to you're done. You're done, pal.
You're a Skrull. I'm sick of you.
You're a Skrull and I'm sick of this. And Scrody's like, you won't do it. You know why? Because in exactly 60 seconds, the footage of you gunning down Maria Hill is going to come out on Access Hollywood. Here, let's put on the TV in the hospital so you can watch it happen. And when that happens, you're fucked, pal. You're done in this town and every other town across the world.
Already wanted for being involved in like a bombing in Russia. Isn't he already a wanted terrorist?
So then Fury is like, okay, you got me this time, but watch what happens next time. I'm going to fucking take care of you. And he goes to walk away. And then Scrody's and by the way, take a look at this. And all of a sudden, 24 Secret Service agents
Secret Service guys who should have been looking after the president.
And he's like, yeah, that's right. They're going to, this is what's waiting for you next time you try some shit.
Some guys who aren't going to shoot you, but they'll just point guns at you.
And Nick Fury's like, yeah, well, we'll see about that. Fury is now an international wanted criminal, which he was previously, but now it's real because everybody has seen the Access Hollywood TMZ tape. And now that's it. And we all know that apparently Maria Hill is a beloved figure just in the world. So people are going to be really, really mad.
Yeah, they love her.
News coverage also strongly suggests, with a shot of poor Talos in his death agony, shifting from human to Skrull form, heavily suggests that at least one alien posing as human was involved in the attack on Ritson. So this news is out there. Sonya, now director of SIS, goes to see the director of MI6, Weatherby, and she shoots him in the leg.
Yeah, glad Olivia Colman's back. What a joy to see her. She doesn't give a fuck. She just shot this guy in the leg. And once again, some more Secret Service people, this time from England. Now they don't know what's going on. They don't know what to do. They just let her shoot him.
They let it go. I also love the way that Skrull Weatherby is like, Sonia, have you seen this stuff about
really
Skrulls?
Think they could live, but wow.
Could there be aliens among us, Sonia?
And she's like, what do you think, bitch? And just shoots him right in the leg. Also, can I just say, like, I understand that this has been promised for the last year or so since they switched. I understand that, like, it's intimate, like, these world change. Okay, but wait a minute, yeah. The Avengers went against the Chitauri without knowing that, like, Thanos was involved in stuff. That's alien invasion. But, like, this is coming out on TV and, like, we're not seeing the fallout. Like, nobody's stressed about it. It's just like, here's an alien. He tried to kill the president. Where's the Avengers? Don't worry about it. Nick Fury gives us the ultimate don't worry about it answer. I just feel like this should be a bigger deal than it is.
You'd think at least old Captain America would be calling Nick on the phone like, hey, what's going on over there?
Seems like having a bit of a problem.
Yeah, do I need to... I'm like 95 years old, but do I need to get the old suit out?
He's like, do I need to get some more super soldier serum? I know you have some. Also, when did they get the Avengers DNA?
Well, I actually like this part of it, and we'll get to that. I can't wait to talk about this, because this is a wrinkle I actually thought was very Fury-ish. This is something Fury would do.
Yeah.
And honestly, a little bit wasted in this particular project. Anyway, we go back to New Skrullos, the cafeteria where everybody is in repose, relaxing after a delicious meal of steamed Skrull eggplant. Delectable. When Beto comes in, and he's like, I need to have a word with you, Gravik. And Gravik's like, what? All the other warriors are watching very closely. And Beto's like, well, I'd like to say, and then all of a sudden it's like, ding, 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 ding. Sorry, I got to take a call. Gravik's getting a call from Scrody. So he can't continue this conversation.
Couldn't just call him back.
Needs to talk to Scrody. It's like, listen, my guy with the president is, can you give me 5? So while Gravik's on the phone, the Warriors are like, fuck it, let's do it. And they take the opportunity to Julius Caesar Gravik. And they come up, they put a bag over his head, they're beating the fuck out of him with like lunch trays. But unfortunately, we all know that Gravik, and apparently no one else except Gaia, has taken the Super Skrull procedure, and he's just too strong, and he fucking Groot arms everybody, and then executes Beto as an example to the rest of everybody to just get in line.
Not a major character, apparently. We thought he was. We were getting a lot of charming acting going on. We thought this was leading somewhere. We had some fun theories. Could he be Nick Fury Jr.? I would have liked to see it. Guess what? No, he's dead.
Well, he could still be Nick Fury Jr., although this heavily suggests that he is not.
He could be. They could have Nick Fury Jr. captured in a Skrull device, and then Beto could come back because he was really Nick Fury Jr. No, I'm sure that he's just dead and got Groot armed. Yeah. R.I.P. to Beto. Sorry that happened to you.
R.I.P. Beto.
Are they not sick of Gravik yet? Like, these people, do they not have personal
they try to kill him.
I know,
they try to kill him, so
they need to do more. Because, like, he's just killing their friends, their family members, like, and they're just kind of like, oh, I'm going to try and take him out once in a, go down. Gaia gave herself the Super Skrull procedure by herself, using a broom.
Just walk in there.
Just walk in and do it. Just go in there. And then you can have a Groot arm or the powers of Corvus Glaive or whoever else. Like, you will be okay.
Gaia has a meeting with Fury in the safe house in Brixton where Fury originally welcomed the Skrulls to Earth. She is, of course, distraught because her father died, thousands, if not millions of light years from home for absolutely no fucking reason. And she's like, my dad was a loser. This sucks.
Your dad was murdered. Your dad was murdered, and you're like, this guy was a fucking loser.
Nick then tries to get her ready for the big game. It's like, hey, guy, it's fucking game 7, okay? Fucking Gravik is going to nuke Skrullos. The president has just been attacked. There's been an attack on Russia already. Like, you gotta get your head in the fucking game right now and get ready to take on Gravik. And we can talk about what a loser Talos was later, okay? But we gotta deal with what we have in front of her. So what's going on with the Super Skrull shit? And Gaia's like, okay, here's what it is. Here's the DNA that's in the Super Skrull procedure. But here's the thing. Interesting note. Apparently, this is just like the beta version of Super Skrull. Gravik wants stronger DNA that he calls the Harvest, and he apparently can't get it. He's been looking for it everywhere, so he has to use this backup, like, Plan B DNA. Gaia says, and now that's all the information I have. I need to go bury my dad, who's a loser according to the ancient Skrull burial rites, and I don't know him, so I need some help with that. And so Fury's like, go see Vera, go see my wife, because she knows all about that stuff. I'm going to Finland. Sonya then visits a Skrull scientist posing as human scientists. They live somewhere out in the countryside. And because apparently the director of SIS goes on door knock missions personally. And she's the point. She's first in the door, not like the SWAT team. She will go in herself. And she's like, hey, I know you guys are pretending to be humans. You're working on some kind of super project that is mysterious for Gravik. Tell me what it is, or I'll have the guy that's standing behind you blow your head off. And they try to like hem and haw and be like, well, it's a very complicated type of thing. And she's like, yeah, shut up. I'm going to kill you. And so they tell her. And then Sonya's having her people burn their house to the ground. But then the husband Skrull scientist, they may not be married. I don't know what their relationship is.
I don't know. Are they married? I don't know. Well,
they're undercover, whatever
they're
it is.
undercover as married.
Yeah, the dude Skrull is like, well, fuck, I'm going to kill my partner Skrull because I can't let her fall into your hands, and she's going to give up the whole plan and tell everything that's going on about what the Super Skrull thing is. Yeah. So Sonya's like, well, watch this. And she just like shoots him in the head. He has no reaction. He just gets shot in the head, watches her pull out the pistol and is like, oh, is that a pistol? Are you going to aim it at me? I guess you're not going to aim it at the hostage.
I have
that
a gun.
I guess it would be me. But all these thoughts are going through his head, unfortunately, at the same time as the bullet, and he is dead.
So many dead Skrulls.
There's a lot of them dying. Gaia goes to see Vera, and they do the funeral rite, and it's actually a shame that this is actually good, pretty good and emotional, and I wish it was more like this. Rhodey shows Ritson evidence of new Skrullos and also Skrull participation in the attack on the convoy and the existence of this Skrull colony in Russia. And he's like, you know what? Listen, crazy idea. Why don't you nuke them?
That seems normal.
Just fucking bomb that shit. He's like, but it's on Russia, Russian soil. Wouldn't that start World War IV or III or how many? Do we count the Chitauri invasion as a World War?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry. You're concussed.
Just do a nuke.
Just launch it, okay?
Dude, can I just say,
don't worry about it.
The president is like in hospital, in bed, looking mad fucked up.
No one around him.
No one around him. He knows not to trust Rhodey, or so he should know, because Fury told him that, but also where's Fury and where's the Secret Service? And like, you literally could not even get into that hospital if the president was there.
He looks like a dad that got heat stroke at heat stroke at his kid's soccer game would have more people around him than the president of the United States.
Does he have a wife? I don't know, a mistress, a daughter, a friend? What's going on? They tried to assassinate him. Surely some of his cabinet or something. I don't know. They tried to assassinate the president, and he's just chilling. And we see a lot of deaths, but it's like they could have at least given us a hint. Like, if I saw some like dead bodies being dragged into a hospital room, like the Skrulls were killing people, but no, nobody cares. This is proof like they're overly concerned with the role of president, even though the president doesn't really have an interior life or any kind of people around him. So there's something's going to happen to him.
Things. Yeah.
But where is everybody?
Where is everybody? Gravik, who then has a great cell phone plan because this guy's making international calls like it's nothing, calls Fury and says, why don't you come to New Skrullos? Like, You got to take your iodine pills because it is on the site of a defunct nuclear reactor. But you should come out here and let's talk about things. And also bring the harvest, aka the Avengers DNA, because unless you do, guess what? I have my guy at the president's elbow, and the president is pretty fucked up. And so he is in a state where he is very suggestible, and he just might nuke Russia and nuke New Skrulls, and everybody's going to die. So you better do something about this. Fury is like, well, we'll see. And then next thing you know, Fury is with Mason, Tasha's fixer from Black Widow. The
shocking
guy gets,
MCU cameo.
And he's like, here, Fury, I got you some stuff and I got you a plane. And Fury's like, great. And then Mason's like, not even a thank you? Like, what? And
Mason's the only person who is allowed to be sassy to Nick Fury. That's what we learned in this. He's like, you're cranky old bitch. Go to sleep. I'm sick of you.
Yeah, because he just like got a G6 plane like on credit for Nick Fury. Nick Fury, did the Venmo go through? Like, is Nick Fury going to Zelle him the money for this? And like, you could at least say thanks. Anyway, Vera leads Gaia through the funeral rites. Gaia is, of course, very sad that it's only the two of them. She's like, my dad was a hero. Now all of a sudden he's a hero.
Oh, I thought he was a loser that nobody liked. Huh?
Yeah.
Which one is it, babe?
My dad was a hero of the Skrull people, and there should be a fucking funeral parade for him. And now it's just the two of us, and she's very sad. And that is actually that's really evocative. Gaia asks why Vara didn't kill Fury, and Vara takes a very long-winded way to say basically she was in love with Fury, even though it was like kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like she loved him, she was fond of him, like she didn't want to kill him.
Yeah,
sure.
So she didn't want to do it, and she was Gravik tried to force her into doing it, but she didn't want to do it. And now that she's refused that particular job, she's ready. When Gravik's people show up to kill her, she's ready, and she can't wait. And guess what? They're here. Oh. That's great timing because they're here. They're everywhere.
They are bad shots.
They are bad shots. And so Vera and Gaia put on backpacks? Why do they put on backpacks?
I don't know. Backpacks and bulletproof vests?
I guess because they have like, I see. Because it has like ammo mags and stuff in the front of it.
I don't know. It was a weird sequence.
It was definitely a weird, like, a backpack product placement. Anyway, they go like Jane Wick on these Skrull hit squads, and it's actually pretty cool.
It's over very quickly.
They absolutely take him out, no problem. Sonya goes and meets Fury when he lands in Finland. And we learn Fury is wearing the Widow's Veil digital mask from the end of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And here's ding, 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 foreshadowing alert.
Also, Sonya says, you were right, because you said this mask was going to show up.
Yes, I knew that this was going to show up. So Sonya says, hey, the Widow's Veil. Don't they change the whole body now? So it just changes your face and like the rest of your body remains you. And Nick Fury says those are the newer versions. This is the 1.0 version. The 2.0 versions do the whole body.
Yeah.
And absolutely we are going to see that version of the product.
Also, can I just say, Nick, you had this the whole time. Why when you came from Earth didn't you just put this on? Like, you didn't need to be Nick Fury coming down from Earth. Everyone could have just thought Nick Fury was in space, and like none of this would have happened.
I bet you it's like a battery issue. Like, it's really hard to charge them.
Yeah. It only lasts for like long enough to get through customs.
Yeah. So they head out to go get the thingy. Sonya tells Nick that she told Rhodey about New Skrullos, and Fury's like, man, that guy's a Skrull. What are you doing?
Why didn't he text her? Can I just say that? Why didn't he text her and let her know? You gotta keep her in the loop.
Hey, what's up, Sonya? Just want to let you know, Rhodey is Skrull, okay? Talk later. Can't talk now.
Rhodey, green, heart emoji. Like.
Yeah, so you fucked up, Sonya. That's a Skrull, and now he has vital intel. And she's like, oh, well. He also tells her that Gravik is threatening to nuke Russia, and then tells her what the new harvest is. Now, here's what it is. Fury wanted the DNA left behind by the Avengers after that big fight against Thanos' people. Actually, like a thing Fury probably would have thought of in the comics.
I will say, I think this is where the show, and our Discord has had some really cool chats about this. I think this is where the show needed to go more and to commit more to, which is the realities of the kind of person you have to be to rise to the top of S.H.I.E.L.D. We need to see more of Nick's complexity, how he was complicit with the system, how he did fucked up shit, like taking the fucking DNA of his friends and sending a Skrull to do that when that immediately put them in danger. Like, I think that there is something really interesting and far more compelling about that espionage element of like the realities of what you have to do to be in S.H.I.E.L.D., to ignore the terrible things they do, the terrible things you have to do, the fact that he has essentially been using the Skrulls, and how interesting it would be to see maybe a recognition that he never really had that much urgency to get them a homeworld.
That would be cool.
I think that is an interesting angle, and I think you're right. I think this does feel like something Fury would do when you think about him contextually. I just wish they leaned into it more in the show.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's a cool detail. It's a shame that the rest of it is not as cool as it. It reminded me of the thing from Civil War in the comics when Thor is off-world at this particular time in Marvel continuity, at least as it pertains, he's in his own book, of course, but at least as it pertained to the larger ongoing events of the Avengers in 616. And so Thor was just like not around, and all of a sudden he shows up for one of the big fights. There's Thor, and he looks like the younger version of Thor, and they're like, what the fuck? And then it turned out that Tony Stark, the very, very first meeting of the Avengers when they're figuring out what to do with Loki, Tony Stark combed his couch and got one strand of hair from Thor and then put it away, and then later on cloned and combined the cloning with like a cybernetic like skeleton to create basically a robot / clone Thor called Clor by the fans, not officially. The fans call it Clor. Name. And I thought, man, that is so devious and such an immoral move by Tony Stark, but also something he would do. And that's what this Nick Fury thing reminds me of. Like, that's kind of something Nick would do.
It does, and it establishes something that's really important. So we've talked quite a fair bit about how the original Super Skrull, Kurt, that's how you pronounce it, but it's spelled like KLRT. He had the Fantastic Four's powers, right? That was the thing. But later on, the Super Skrulls, as they grew, could have the powers of many different heroes, right? Yeah. So this is essentially establishing that lore. And they're going for that core Avengers team because this is a great narrative way for them to have gotten that. Oh, Fury did that early on before he really had relationships with them. He wanted to get that DNA. He sent Gravik to get it. That's like a fucked up thing to do. So it's interesting. And then in the future, you get out of this situation where you've essentially had to make this beta version of a Super Skrull who has powers that are not necessarily the powers anyone would pick from the A-list heroes. So I think this is very interesting, and it really leans into that comic book thing. So while I don't necessarily think we're going to see any cool Super Skrulls with like lightning powers or shape-shifting powers or anything in the next couple of... It's also very interesting as well because if you think about the Avengers, whomst among them really had...
They didn't really have
DNA
a lot.
That had powers.
It was not like cool.
I think that the only one that you could really Super Skrull easily would be Hulk. Right, if it's based on DNA. So I think we could definitely see a Hulk Skrull, that kind of thing. But are we going to see it in the finale? I feel like the odds are low, but I feel like it sets up the future of what the Super Skrulls could be and the Super Skrull threat.
Agreed. So Fury wanted this DNA left behind after the big fight against Thanos' people upstate at Stark's Avengers facility up there. And so Fury put Gravik in charge of the project, collecting DNA evidence, as just like a normal person able to shapeshift and get in there and just like fill up test tubes with various goop. Now Fury has to give him the DNA or else. So this is all Fury's fault. And that's why, and Fury's like, that's why I came back from space. Otherwise I know I'm married and all that stuff. I wasn't going to come back.
He's like, fuck that shit. I'm staying in space.
Yeah, space is chill. They then go to a small mausoleum in a cemetery out in the woods, out here in Finland. And this is one of Fury's secret caches of equipment and stuff, which is another thing from the comics. Nick Fury is constantly getting thrown out of S.H.I.E.L.D., fired by S.H.I.E.L.D., wanted
thrown
criminal,
out of the
whatever.
Country, disavowed.
Thrown out of the country, fakes his death, whatever. But he's always got stuff because... I forget. They actually put a number on it, didn't they? Isn't there like 47 secret Nick Fury bases
like
on the books?
Like, it's hilarious.
At one of the stories in the last 10 years, they actually put a number on how many Nick Fury secret bases there are. So this is a very, very, very Nick Fury thing. And he picked Finland because apparently he and Vara had honeymooned here. The Skrulls like the cold, he says. And he also hid the DNA there. The DNA, he opens up at the top of a fucking tombstone and there is a vial of clear-ish liquid. Who knows what that could be?
DNA is that? And also like
Whom's
DNA. Also, okay, so if it's the end game fight rather than the Battle of New York, which is what I misunderstood.
Maybe you think it's Carol?
I'm like, is it Carol? Is it like Thanos? Like there's so many DNAs that would have been at that fight. That's basically opens up the world to any hero or many alien villains.
It's literally every single MCU powered person was there.
It's just in that vial.
Yeah.
Every single one.
And then he goes over to the other little part of the mausoleum where he has his regular stuff and he gets his battle eye patch and he gets his good trench coat.
Why did he not wear it the whole time? I still don't understand. I felt like that was important, but it was not important.
And now Washed Fury is ready and he takes out his phone and he calls somebody and he says, "It's time. Let's finish this." Who is he calling?
Gravik, I guess. Like Rhodey? Skrull Rhodey? The president? Maybe he's
Talos?
like, "Sorry, sir."
Hill?
She's been alive the whole time. It wasn't
let me tell you something. I mean, why? Yeah, but that's like one of those things. Like, why would it be that? Yeah, why would it be
She was too busy to film the other 5 episodes.
Do you think they got somebody like? Did they get like Sam Wilson or something for one episode? Did they get an actual hero for one episode to like come in and be like, "Hey, I need your help for one episode to help defeat the Skrull invasion, the million Skrull invasion of Earth"?
I don't think so, because Nick has like a very funny monologue in this episode where he's just monologuing to Sonya about how the only person who can beat the Skrulls is him because he's got a brain that was trained by his single mom and only he knows how to beat the Skrulls, and like the Avengers don't know. And I'm like, I feel like Captain America would be like useful. I feel like you could just unfreeze the Winter Soldier and like see if his metal arm has something to say about those Skrulls. You know, maybe you call the Guardians of the Galaxy, seeing as they have group powers. Like, I feel like Nick is overestimating his own importance.
Nick, let's take a look at it, okay? In the multiple alien invasions that have taken place in the MCU, right? Battle of New York, the Avengers took care of the Chitauri. You were up there on the fucking helicarrier, which crashed, and then you lost control of one of your nukes. So how does that look? Go? And then Endgame, where were you?
Just chilling.
Infinity War, you got blipped and then you weren't around, and then Endgame you weren't there. Also, I didn't see you.
I don't understand why the man who literally put together the Avengers Initiative because of an alien invasion is now like, oh, there's an alien invasion, but I don't need the Avengers. This is why you put them together.
I know,
this is what the initiative is for. Like, there is a million Skrulls. And like, I guess what I would say is like, I feel like maybe they could have been like a bit more narratively clear. Like maybe he's like ashamed that the Avengers DNA is now a MacGuffin. So that would have been cool. I understand. I don't want them to know about this. Yeah, I don't want that. Like, that would have been cool. I feel like they didn't go clear enough on that. So do I think I think he was probably on the phone to like Gravik, being like, "We're gonna be done. This is done. We're gonna finish it." But like, do I think maybe someone could show up at the end and be like, "Why didn't you call us? This is so dumb," and like punch a Skrull's head off? Like, probably.
It's really weird.
I don't think Gravik is probably going to survive the finale. I don't think he's a long-term.
100% he will die. He's dead.
I don't think he's a long-term villain. I also just am very interested. I guess Carol is the obvious option, especially with the Marvels coming next. Now,
they did mention her.
Director Ali Salim has been quite clear, saying he didn't think about continuity. He didn't think about the Marvels. Okay, so maybe that was a red herring. I feel like Carol kind of makes sense, but we know that at the moment she's quantumly entangled with Kamala and Monica. So I don't know. It feels like somebody should show up. But the biggest question I kind of have is like, in the most kind of chill way possible, like what I want to know what happens in the finale that changes the outcome of the MCU. Because currently, what's going to have happened is the Skrulls came, they didn't have a home, and we started Secret Invasion. And the end of this is going to be the Skrulls came, they didn't have a home, and they still don't have a home. Like, I need to know what the game-changing thing is. So I think the president's going to die. I think that will set up President Thunderbolt Ross, or the president will be a Skrull, potentially. I thought maybe Talos would become the president, so it was kind of like a puppet Skrull president, but who was human-friendly or something, and I would love to see Dermot Mulroney come back. But I think it's more likely that he's going to die, and that power vacuum that is in the Skrulls will be reflected in a power vacuum in America, and then will kind of lead to Thunderbolts. That's my guess. But I don't know, like, who would, if you were going to pick, like, 3 characters who are most likely to show up in the finale, who would you pick? Obviously, apart from Mason, because he's already in there, so don't blow your load on that one.
Gosh, from the larger MCU, I would say Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
I would say, ooh. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on Florence Pugh's.
Yeah, Yelena, I was going to say, I think she's also very high up there, because she's espionage.
Yeah, I think Yelena could be there, but then my reality brain kicks in and says there's no way they landed Florence Pugh for this show. For this one episode. But that would make sense. Taskmaster?
Maybe. I know, that's why I'm like, is it? So are we going to get, you know who actually would make the most sense, I guess, is like, and we know she loves doing TV. She's a TV legend. Maybe you get the Contessa Valentina Allegra Di Fontaine. Yeah. Like, maybe that's, because also, was Mason working for her? He was Black Widow's fixer. It's unclear if he was kind of involved in the early Thunderbolt stuff, because like Yelena was there. So maybe her, but I think it's more likely. I think part of the reason that there's such a high kill count in this show is because they're killing off characters instead of continuing them onto the MCU, like the wider MCU. So I will be interested to see what occurs. And
Coulson?
Oh my God, can you imagine? That would actually be sick.
That would be so good. That would actually be really, really cool.
Good. That would be really actually. That's like Coulson's there. That's who he was on the phone to. And he's just
that would be really, really great.
That would be great. I would be a huge fan of that. And I wonder if maybe all of this leads to the creation of the Skrull with a certain set of Avengers powers, or one of the Avengers powers or something, and that becomes our actual singular first super Skrull. Yeah. Kurt, like, you know, it's I wonder if that's going to be the one thing that might carry over going forward, because I feel like it hasn't necessarily added a lot of lore or kind of substance to the wider MCU, which I do feel like most of these shows, no matter whether I've been a big fan of them or haven't been a huge fan of them, most of them I feel like have been additive. And this is the first one where I'm sort of like not sure what the additive nature of it is going to be. So maybe it is going to be like a proper singular Super Skrull, or maybe it'll just be like a funny, completely interior, nothing really changes, and if people haven't watched it, it won't affect them going forward.
I was hoping it was going to be like, this was going to set up the kind of underground Nick Fury that we saw like in the mid-aughts. You know, when he was running around with Daisy Johnson and stuff, going from like hideout to hideout, maybe now with Kurt or some other Skrulls, and that's his like, you know, like counterintelligence agency that only works for the heroes. I thought that maybe that's where we were going to go. But I also still feel pretty strongly like, man, it feels like Fury could die.
Yeah, it does. Like, it does. I would be sad to see it happen, because I feel like Sam is such a core part of like the success of the MCU. But yeah, it does definitely feel like that. And as we know, you can always bring somebody back in those spaces. Like it's not forever. Death is not forever, especially in the MCU.
Well, the final episode of Secret Invasion is next week, and we will be here for that. Up next, Nerd Out.
In today's Nerd Out, where you tell us what you love and why, a theory you're excited to share, or a quick question that we can answer, Rob shares some thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Hi, Rosie and Jason. Loved the Indiana Jones episode recently. Thank you. Wanted to share some fun theories from The Last Crusade. Okay, first theory. The guy who originally gives young Indy the hat was apparently intended to be Abner Ravenwood, Marion's father, but any details hinting at that were scrubbed. That's cool. I wish they'd left that in. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, Rob. They should have left that one in. Second, and the main reason I decided to write in, involves the ending with a selection of the Grail. Last Crusade was probably my favorite movie for a time as a kid, and I've seen it countless times over my life. But it wasn't until I showed it to my significant other for the first time recently that she brought this to my attention. In the Grail room, Elsa volunteers to choose the cup for Donovan, which of course kills him. My significant other matter-of-factly states, wow, she gives him the wrong one on purpose. This completely blew my mind and is actually quite obvious in retrospect. All those years watching it, it never once occurred to me. I think that her horrified reaction is that she didn't really know how gruesome it would be when he drank it, rather than actual surprise. Now, I will say, I actually never considered that she gave it to him on purpose.
I never considered this, and I'm considering it right now, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense.
Rob, your significant other has just blown up Last Crusade for us. Yeah, I never considered that, but that actually makes so much sense. Why wouldn't she do that?
Yeah, she got what she wanted, and now she can potentially leave without the entanglements of having to work for this crazy guy, and she can go back to Nazi Germany and
live it up.
Exult in the victory of the 1,000-year Reich.
Well, and guess what? Sorry to her, she's going to die in a fog instead, and it's what she deserves. It's what she deserves. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, wow, I want to rewatch that now.
I know, I'm going to have to rewatch it. That was really good. Thanks, Rob. If you have theories, passions, or quick questions you want to share, hit us up at xray@crooked.com. Instructions, as always, are in the show notes.
That's it for us. Rosie, any plugs?
I'm going to San Diego Comic-Con very early tomorrow morning, which means by the time you listen to this, I will be there. You can check my Instagram to see where I will be, and I'll just be wandering around too. So if you don't make it to any of the panels, feel free to say hello. If you see me, I'll be there masked up and probably wearing very flowy clothes to hide from the 90-degree heat that I'm sure will be boiling us all alive.
Catch the next episode of X-Ray Vision Wednesday, July 26th, when we will be joined by David Goyer. David S. Goyer.
You can watch full episodes of the podcast on YouTube. You can also check out our Twitter at XRVPod and our Discord to hang out with lots of cool fans.
5-star ratings, 5-star reviews. We need them. We got to have them. You got to give them to us. Here's one from Side Ken. Get my geek on. I've been a fan of Jason's from the Ringer days, and I was happy to follow him over to Crooked. He has introduced so much great stuff and also bought Rosie and Zig. So life is better because of X-Ray Vision. Thank you, Sid Ken.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.